Hey Scavengers, this is James and I got a quick question for you today. Which is better, thrifting or buying storage units? We're going to discuss that today. Check it out. Hey Scavengers, this is James and I am back here at my storage again. The desk that we showed just the other day, we listed on Facebook Marketplace, just sold it. I'm fixing to meet the lady that's buying it from me. And so today we're going to be talking just a few minutes. I've been working some more on the storage. Made a little bit of progress. Again, I'm on the back end here again. Gotten through some more stuff. I've been getting some of this stuff sorted out. Alright guys, so I finished my little deal that I was working on earlier. And now I got to go to the grocery store, pick up a few things for the house. So before I get in there, I wanted to stop real quick and get us started. So we wanted to know which is better, buying storage units or going thrift store shopping. Today we're going to compare the two. So for those of you that are new here, I clean out abandoned storage units. I do some thrifting. I do some dumpster diving. A little bit of everything. I am a scavenger. I scavenge for stuff that I can resell. I scavenge for stuff that we can keep. Some of it we give away. For me, scavenging is just kind of a way of helping keeping stuff out of the landfills, keeping stuff going, and helping other people along the way. We give away stuff. We sell stuff. We just try to find new homes for stuff instead of it winding up in a dump. And that's very important to me. So that's what we do. And if you like that kind of stuff, if you're interested in that kind of thing, click the little subscribe button and click the little bell notification so you get all of our latest updates. So what's going on is I get a lot of questions from people about which one is better, about doing thrift stores, or do you go to thrift stores, do you do thrift shopping, or do you buy just abandoned storage units? Which one is better for resellers? And a lot of it just depends on your personal taste. And today what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about some of the pros and cons of both, and talk about some of the struggles that we've had with both, and tell you what my opinion is on which one is better. So stay tuned, watch the rest of this video. We're going to get back to it in just a minute. Alright, so we gotta go to the store, we gotta get some stuff. I think I've lost my mind. That is a Harry Potter mask. Are you man enough to wear a Harry Potter mask? I'm comfortable enough with myself too. Yes, I'm wearing a Harry Potter mask. So cute. So, before we get started, let's look at some of the pros and cons of buying a storage unit. When you buy a storage unit, one of the biggest advantages to buying a storage unit is, of course, you're buying in bulk quantity. You buy a whole bunch of stuff. And I mean a whole bunch of stuff. You can get a storage unit, even a small unit that's maybe, say, a 5 foot by 10 foot, if it's well packed. You can get a lot of product. My very first unit, I paid $10 for. It was a 5 by 10 unit, and we made over $150 off of that unit. And I still now have stuff. In fact, some of the stuff we're donating right now is stuff out of that unit that never sold. And some of that stuff is stuff out of that unit that we never listed, which is probably why it never sold. Because I just kept buying, and I bought more stuff, and I got more stuff, and it just got buried underneath everything. And it got to the point where I was just so overwhelmed with everything, I had way more stuff to list than I could ever list. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. So number one pro to buying storage units. You're buying in bulk, which means you get a lot of great stuff to sell. Number two, you're going to have better chances for less money to get some quality goods in there, even cheap units. I've been known to buy $5, $10 units. They are a lot of work, which we'll talk about here in just a few minutes. But I have found some real gems in some of those $5 and $10 units. Brand new stuff, never open packages, and stuff that would sell individually for $10, $15, $20, and I'm finding them in a $10 storage unit. Therefore, and sometimes it's also money saved. When you're looking at storage units, also one of the factors you have to look into storage units is because you're buying in quantity, sometimes you keep the stuff you find in storage units. And often, the stuff you keep in money saved by not having to go to the store and buy that stuff, you actually pay for the unit just in saving money. Another advantage to storage units, cash. I don't know how many units I've bought, maybe 3, 4 units out of all the units that I've bought have paid for themselves with the cash I found in the unit before I sold a single thing. That means everything I made off of those units was pure profit. So now that we kind of know what some of the advantages to buying a storage unit are, let's look at some of the downsides. What are some of the cons of buying a storage unit? Well, I already mentioned this earlier. It is a ton of work, and sometimes the time investment, if you value your time, the time investment on some of these cheaper units isn't worth the return on your investment. In other words, you might spend 7, 8 hours worth of work sorting and cleaning this stuff to make $100, $200. So is it worth your time to spend that kind of time? Now, you can increase the odds by learning how to profile units. This is one of the things I learned after the fact. I didn't learn how to profile units until I had already been profiling or buying units for about 6 or 7 months. If you're just starting out, learn how to profile units. What it means is, what I learned from one of the people that I don't really associate very much with anymore, but they did teach me a few good things about buying storage units. You find 1 or 2 items in that unit that you know you can make money off of, that you can sell for, and that's your cap on what you're willing to bid on the unit, what you can sell those items for. For example, and sometimes you have to take into account, again, seeing items that you know you would keep and you know what you would pay for those items. Take that into account. For example, I have a unit I'm looking at right now. It's full of totes. I've counted 20 totes. Now, I've looked at the totes. I know what kind of totes they are. Some of those totes are $10 to $15 a piece. Some of those totes are about $5 a piece. But if I estimate an average of about $10 a piece for those totes, I know what I can make my money. If I was to bid up to $150 on that unit, the totes alone, by not having to go out and buy the totes, would pay for the unit. Everything else I would pay would be profit. That being said, you have to learn how to tell those differences and how to turn those negatives into an advantage. The other thing is you have to be able to store all this stuff, and I do not recommend bringing it into your house. Look back at some of my videos from back in February. We had a roach infestation in our house, and we think I brought it in with storage unit stuff, because at the time, in the early days, we were storing this stuff inside our house. And we wound up getting a cockroach infestation in our house from stuff coming into our house. So you have to have some place, preferably separate from your house, to store this stuff. Whether it's a storage building, I now rent a 10 by 30 storage unit in our own facility that we pay for every month. Yeah, it's a little bit of extra money out of our pocket to pay for that storage, but that way we've got a place to store stuff while I sort it and get it listed and get it sold. Manual labor. Storage unit auctions are a ton of manual labor, and if you don't have a team working with you, you're going to be doing it on your own. Not fun. I've bought 10 by 20 units, 10 by 30 units that I had to personally sort it all, load it all, trash it all, take it all back to my house, unload it all when I got there by myself. Because I didn't have anybody to help me, because I don't have the income yet to hire that team. My eventual goal is I'm going to hire 2 to 3 people. I want to hire at least, I'm thinking about 3 people that I want to hire. as I build up my business, because that's going to give me 2 people to help me sort, move, and load, and 1 person to be a camera operator to help me record the videos for you guys. So that's what I'm working on, and as my business grows, I might hire more than that, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. So that's one of the other things. If you're just starting out, you're going to be doing a lot of manual labor. So if you have some of that free labor, children, or if you've got, you know, a spouse that can help you, you've got a friend that can help you, somebody that can help you, it'll be a really great advantage to get some help doing all this work. That's some of the pros and cons, though, of doing a storage unit. Now, let's talk about some of the pros and cons of going thrift shopping for resale. Thrift shopping, you're going to be buying 1 or 2 items at a time. This is an advantage, but it's also a disadvantage. So we're going to talk about the disadvantage part of it later. For right now, why is this an advantage? Because you don't need a whole lot of storage space to start thrifting. You can go out there and buy 1, 2, 3. If you're just starting out, you've never sold anything, eBay limits you to 10 items per month when you first open your new eBay account. So you go out and you buy 5, 6 items that you can put up on eBay to resale, just to kind of test the waters. You list those items, you wait for them to sell. Once they sell, then you go get 5 or 6 more items. You put those up for eBay, wait for those to sell. While those are selling, you contact eBay and say, hey, I've listed these items, they've already sold, would you raise my limits? And they'll raise your listing limits. You can do that. I've now gotten mine up to where I can have up to 500 items at a time listed on my eBay store. But I didn't start there. I had to slowly, over the last year, I've only opened my eBay store, guys. I opened my eBay store in September of last year. So I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary since I started this adventure. So that's what we've been doing. We have gone thrifting, and we do occasionally find some high dollar flips. Now the downside to thrifting is because you're buying 1 or 2 items at a time, you've got to know what you're looking for. And I don't know what I'm looking at on a lot of this stuff. I'm learning it. But there's so much of this stuff that I don't know because I'm not into fashion, so I really don't know what the popular brands are. And you have to look at not just what the retail price on stuff is, but what the resale price on stuff is. Because there's some stuff that the margins are really, really high, and you might be able to flip it for 3/4 of what it would sell for brand new. And there's some stuff that it's worth almost nothing as a resale item. It might be really expensive brand new, but it's worth nothing for resale. So you have to look at what's available for resale. And the best way to do that, if you're going to be selling on eBay, especially go to eBay, look at sold listings and filter by sold listings so you can see what that item's selling for. And then you can look up items and see what they're selling for on eBay and determine whether it's worth the cost and the time you have to put into it. That's the other thing. You get a lot of what we call bread and butter items. I hate the low cost bread and butter items. Anything less than like $15 to $20 isn't worth my time to list. And if you look at my eBay store, I have a whole bunch of stuff that's less than $10 to $15. Most of it's all stuff that came out of storage units. But if I'm thrifting, I don't want less than 20 bucks return. If I'm going to spend even $2 or $3 plus the time to list these items individually, I want at least a $20 return on my investment for the time that I've put into it. Some people don't go for that. It's up to you how you choose to run your business. These are just the things that I look at when I'm buying stuff for resale. Now, you can find some real gems that nobody knows about. If you go back and look, I've got a video right here of a picture that I bought. I sold it within 24 hours. I paid 12 bucks for it, sold it for 100 bucks. But it's rare to find those gems. Now, some people find them like almost all the time. If you watch the freaking YouTube videos, you'd think that they're finding them almost every day. They've also been doing it a lot longer and they know what they're looking for. Me, I find them like maybe once every 3 or 4 months where I get those big sales like that. If I buy a storage unit, on the other hand, I have a lot better chance because I'm buying a whole lot more quantity of stuff. Now the other thing to thrifting is, and this is kind of not really the same as thrifting, it's kind of finding a medium between the two, which is going to the Goodwill bins. If you have a Goodwill bins nearby, you might want to check them out, because you can buy in most quantity, but you can buy it in a lot cheaper prices. So you can get, you know, stuff for pennies on the dollar for what it's worth, and turn around and sell a lot of low-end stuff and get massive quantity of stuff. But in order to be able to move that stuff, you've got to build up your eBay store to the point where you can list that much stuff anyway. If you're buying a whole bunch of stuff and you can't even list 10 items a month, you've got way too much stuff. So another con to the thrifting is be careful of online bolo sites. And I follow some. In fact, if you want to know my favorite one, go to Courtney over at Bolo Buddies right here on YouTube. I'll link to her channel over here. She does a lot of great bolos. The downside to that is the more people know about those bolos, the more people are going to come in and drop the prices on the bolos. So those things that were worth a lot of money, you start finding them. You're like, oh, I saw this on Bolo Buddies, you list it, and then it sells for like $5 because everybody else under the sun went and found that same bolo and they listed it too. So you've got to be careful. Always don't just go by what the bolo sites say. Do your own research. What is it selling for today? Because it sold for a certain price last week doesn't mean that's what it's selling for this week. So make sure you look at the current sales and look at the most current sales of those items that you can. These are going to give you a big heads up on making some profit off of your thrifting. So I've shared with you some of the pros and some of the cons of thrifting and storage unit buying. What's my opinion? I personally prefer a storage unit. With a storage unit, I can go out and I can buy a mass quantity of stuff. I can sort through it, and I'm gonna find those treasures. I'm gonna find, and I enjoy the treasure hunt. Reselling is a side business. It's part of what I have to do in order to make my treasure hunting work. But what excites me, what gets me passionate, what I love doing is the treasure hunt. So for that reason, I would rather do a storage unit. But what do you like to do? I would love some comments from those. I know a lot of other resellers are watching my videos. Share down in the comments your opinions. Which one would you prefer? Thrifting versus storage unit buying. Which one do you prefer? And let me know why down in the comments. For now, we're going to go ahead and go back. Danny Mae's Adventures auction is about to get started, and I've got to get over there so I can help support them. But you guys have a great night, and we'll see you at the next video.